Creative Magic Club. What's up? This is Sarah Mack and welcome to Creative Magic Club. Together, we'll discover inspirational stories of creative entrepreneurs living out their dreams, doing the work they are most passionate about, and building wealth in magical and fun ways. While building a six-figure income as a writer and coach, helping other women to launch their dream businesses, I've connected with so many incredible people and seen it proven again and again that you can thrive financially doing whatever it is you are passionate about. I'm here to share life-changing strategies for mindset, making money, and reaching more people with your work in a business and life filled with creativity, freedom, and fun. Hi, welcome. I'm so excited to introduce my guest today. She is the incredible Michelle Alva, who is a sex, love, and intimacy coach. She has spent the past 23 years getting certified in all kinds of incredible things, including physical therapy, hypnosis, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, time dynamics, Tantra, integrative yoga therapy, sound healing, Psych-K, mindfulness-based meditation, belly dance, and shamanism. She created the Alva method, which is a process of self-discovery, integrating both modern science and ancient wisdom practices to educate and empower individuals on how to reset and calm their nervous system and experience major healing with minor effort. So welcome, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Sarah, and I'm really grateful to be on your awesome podcast and just to know you.
Yeah, and I'll give you a quick background on how I found Michelle in the wonderful world of Instagram, and I was hooked on her work immediately. I was looking to work to learn about Tantra. I ended up in a few of her workshops, and then I ended up in her Wild Woman of Abundance program. And I just love the way that she combines all of these really, really powerful techniques, particularly with the breath work and adding it to money mindset, abundance creation, embodiment, self-empowerment. And her energy is really, really amazing, as you will find out. And the thing I love about you is I feel like you've mastered the art of vulnerability. You're just always in flow. You're always authentic. You're really able to speak and express how you're feeling in the moment and to just allow that to flow no matter what's going on, whether shit's hitting the fan, whether you're going through a tough moment, whether you're ecstatically joyful, you're really able to be present and express all of it. And I think that's, where you harness so much of your power. And what I'm becoming to understand is that's really the power of Tantra, is being able to tap into that and stop blocking yourself
in the moment.
Yeah. So I would love for you to kick off this conversation by telling us a little bit about your journey. How did you end up doing the work that you're doing today?
Well, you wanted me to share from my heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you call that again? what's in your heart? There was a cute saying.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. Whatever it is,
I thought we were there already.
Most empowered to, most passionate about sharing right now in this moment.
Can I do that now? Because that's what's coming up. Yeah.
Go for it.
This is like the Tantra, right?
Yeah.
My wish for everyone to hear is that you are so powerful. You are more powerful than you could ever imagine. So wherever you place your focus, how you feel in your body is constantly giving the universe feedback on what to bring to you. And so this is why it's so important for us to have fun at work and to do things that are only really passionately inspiring, or else you're just going to keep attracting things that are closing you down. And so that's the biggest lesson learned from this lifetime of all these things that I've studied, is that life really can be heaven on earth, and we can have fun and we can enjoy. And that's where the Tantra is so amazing, because it's all about feeling and experiencing more that aliveness that is what we really truly are when we peel away the traumas and the dramas and the past, which is my journey started, my dad leaving when I was 12, my first sexual experience being traumatic. And so I literally held chronic pain inside my genitals. And so I thought sex was painful. And I thought also that I was damaged goods. I made up all these heavy telenovela if anybody's Spanish out there, stories that I was not good enough, I'm not lovable, from the things that happened to me in my past. And so what I came to understand was that if you have these heavy thoughts about yourself, or judge yourself, criticize yourself, shame yourself, you're going to start to create more tension in your physical body, and it's just going to stay there. And so I became a physical therapist 24 years ago, graduated, and I was very young. I was 22 years old, and this super yoga person, super perfectionist woman, type A, triple A, and it was all about control. Everything that I was holding in, all the things I was ashamed about, I didn't want anybody to know. And so I acted on the outside as though I'm perfect. I compensated by being overly perfect, or thinking that that was even something important. And so by the time I was about 37 years old, I feel like I hit my midlife crisis early on, and I just completely shifted my life. I felt I needed to get a divorce. I actually released 10 years earlier the chronic pain that was holding in my pelvis from just breathing and doing yoga for 3 hours, Mula Bandha yoga, this pelvic floor yoga. And the traumas just kind of rinsed off my body when I was in the bathtub when I was 28 years old. So I had this awakening, this kundalini movement, this energy in my body. And at that time, I thought I was just muscles, bones, joints, and a lot of heavy thoughts. But then I was like, wow, I'm energy. This must be prana, what they talk about in yoga. And so I was practicing yoga, but I didn't really understand yoga from an embodied perspective until that moment when I was 28. And my whole life changed because I realized, wow, I'm energy. I'm so much more than what I think I am. What am I? And so I went on this journey studying shamanism, energy healing. I was a Louise Hay junkie and Joe Dispenza junkie and Bruce Lipton and all these different teachers. Read so many books, took all these different courses, even something about shamanism, which was not a course, it was an apprenticeship. And so I realized how our ego, creates so much suffering, and then our soul is just the present moment awareness that is the reason why we all meditate, right? To connect to. And so I learned over the years resentfully about my ego and what I created. And so this last year of my life, I love my ego. I love my past. I've learned how to love and accept and embrace my journey and see it all as perfect, and see my father, who I was so angry at, leaving us, and 3 kids. My mom worked 3 jobs and he never supported us financially. And so I had all this pent up anger and frustration and confusion. And I took it out on men, and I was seeking out my daddy's love, daddy issues. And so living from this place of awareness, wow, look at how my childhood has impacted me, and how many of my clients that I work with chronic pain in the body are people that have anxiety, people that have depression, people that manifest different things happening in their uterus, endometriosis, PCOS. There's a slew of things that come into the body that we create, cancer, and how much of it these people that I work with and myself have had childhood traumas, or we're holding on to resentments, bitterness, anger from the past, and literally the body keeps a score. And so physical therapy didn't prepare me to work with people's emotions, and I don't wish to become a psychotherapist. So I became NLP, hypnosis practitioner, studied shamanism, because that really does teach you rituals and shifting your subconscious. And I learned how in seconds people can release an 8 out of 10 pain in their neck to a 2 out of 10 pain by letting go of old beliefs, old memories, and just forgiveness can shift your physicality instantly. And so I'm on this mission now to educate and empower people on what's possible if they're interested and they want to go there. Because I learned too that some of us don't want to get better. And I think some of us are scared of changing our lives drastically. Some of us are married and we know we're not meant to be married. And maybe we're in a job, or we're tolerating things that we're not really happy about. So I was one of those people. That's why I can say that. that we're scared, we're scared to live this dream life, or we're scared to have amazing things happen to us because then it could all be gone, right? And so I noticed for myself too, it's funny, you're talking about, Michelle, you're always, your energy, and you said something like you're pretty comfortable and a high vibrating person. And yeah, I'm really good at my job, and I feel like I'm a pretty awesome mother. I have a teenager, and but when it comes to dating and relationships after my experiences, that is the part of my life that when I really meet someone that I really, really like, I feel as though I go back into my teenage years. And I was with the same person for 20 years. And right fresh out of high school, I married my high school sweetheart. And so it's really cute to witness myself so confident at work. And then when it comes to a person that's very interested in me, I turn into this other little, so that's me being vulnerable and being honest. And I'm sure people can relate to this. And so I instead of being mad at myself, I get to date myself and get connected to the nervousness, and I get to invite someone in. I get to choose who I wish to connect with, and from a place of confidence, and noticing when I am not confident and loving that too. And so that's really what this work is about, where in the past I would have been like, oh my God, Michelle, how could you be so like a little girl, he likes you, and oh my goodness, you're 40 and you're acting like this, so today it's like, I'll just bring it up in the present moment, I'm feeling nervous, excited, and I'll just say, that hasn't happened to me yet where I vocalized it, but something to that effect, where I'll be more honest about what's alive in me in the moment. Because sometimes we do meet someone and we're taken back, and maybe like in the past, I'll be like, where's the exit? I don't even want to feel this, or I'll avoid. And, I definitely have pushed away some awesome people that wanted to connect, men in the past, because I just felt like I'm not ready. I just got a divorce. I need to work on myself, and I'm not good enough. I have to be perfect woman to have this perfect partnership. And it's all BS, so yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. All of this.
That's the truth, in case you want to know.
That, by the way, is like sharing her stories in like really powerful, teachable moments. And yeah, so much juicy stuff. And first of all, I think we all have that area where we're like, this is just my big growth area, where I'm like, there's a part of me that's like stuck somewhere. And I'm just,
how many of us avoid it, or we just don't confront it? And I know that because for a lot of years, that was me. And then the other part is having the humbleness to say, I want a coach for that. I want a person to guide me for that.
Yeah.
So that I'm grateful to myself now, because I'm that person today. And mind you, let's love ourselves even if we're avoiding. Like all the stuff I just shared, I would love for people to comment down below. Let us know, how does that serve you, this vulnerability, this share? Because we're so connected. Whoever's coming into this interview, there's a reason why you're here with us. And that's how the universe works, right? And so if more of us spoke from the heart and share more, and instead of acting like we have to be perfect, especially us coaches, healers, guides, even as a parent, my daughter would be like, Mommy, I can't believe you're acting like this. And I would say to her, well, listen, you're the first child I've ever had at age 11 and age 12 and 6 and 7 and 8. And this is the first time I've ever done this, and that's so true. Like, I don't, how can I pretend that I'm a perfect parent or perfect at parenting when this is the first time I've ever done it? And so I think I wish in the past, now looking back on it, I would have been like, you're doing your best. Like, yeah, it's okay. Like, take it easy. You're allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah. And it's that area which brings us the most healing and the most transformation and like the juiciest gold nuggets of wisdom. For me, it's definitely been money. Like, that's been the area that has just, I went from complete and total avoidance to this is a complete fucking mess to, okay, let's work on it. Let's do the work. And, I've like made so much progress and still have so far to go, but it's been that, that is the lesson that has called me into this work of getting into my body and, releasing everything that I was holding on to that's been blocking me from being able to receive in that area. And I think that's, you know, it's so like your work is really, really powerful and really, really important, because most people are walking around like I was, like stuck in my head and completely disconnected from the waist down. And now I've been through that process of getting more into my body and allowing myself to feel my feelings, because it like there's a reason we avoid it because sometimes it really does not feel good when you get in there and this stuff starts to come up and you start to experience it, and we haven't been given the tools, and we haven't, you know, necessarily had role models who have showed us how to be in the pain and how to process some of the heavier, you know, more difficult emotions. And that's why we avoid it, because when we don't know what to do with it, and, you know, we judge not feeling good all the time or not being perfect, so then it festers and it becomes even more of a big thing than it needs to be, than if you just go in there, feel it, let it go, and then move on.
So the thing is, to have lots of compassion is so important for everybody out there. If you're thinking, wow, you know, I do avoid something, because what's happening is you're perfectly protecting yourself. We all have our protection abilities, which we are so great at keeping ourselves safe and protected. But a lot of times it's fear-based protection. So we're meant to grow. We're meant to thrive. We're meant to be these miraculous, powerful beings. And so sometimes I think we're actually scared of success. We're scared of our power, especially for women. You know, I see this so much. And I'm talking about power that is a healthy power, not this abused power, ego power. So soul power, open-hearted power, vulnerability power, because it's so not common. Also, it's not really the norm. And that's why I'm so happy that we both are here, because I think of you as the same way when I see you in social media and your awesome programs and coaching, how you're out there, and at the same time, you're a humble student. You're constantly searching for growth inside yourself. And so whoever works with you is going to get that juiciness of all your wisdom and the vulnerable coach that you are, that's so alive in the moment. So I think that's priceless and so valuable. You are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So tell me about, you know, what's like most alive for you in your work at the moment. Where, you know, where are you being drawn? What are you most excited to share with people?
Yeah, well, I'm very excited to share with you all this beautiful approach. You know, the Alva method, it's a process of self-discovery, and I work with people one-on-one through Zoom or on the phone. And also I created this class called the Wild Women of Abundance, which it's a 10-day online journey where you have 5 classes in 10 days. This is how Sarah and I really connected, because you are a wild woman of abundance. And so it's all about resetting your mindset to receive more abundance. And so one of those aspects, of course, is being able to receive more abundance in money flow. But really before that, it's really about you embodying your ability to receive yourself, your awesomeness, yourself, however you show up, because a lot of times we're avoiding ourselves. And this is where the embodiment, going inside your body. And so all the exercises in this 10-day journey teach you how to integrate with yourself. And really it's about healing, I think, also your inner child. You know, when we talk about the inner child, there's parts of us that we've abandoned or we have neglected. And so there's a lot of crying in the sessions. People have a lot of catharsis. It's a practice to be vulnerable, emotionally available. It's definitely for people that want to open up in a group of women that are supporting them. So for women that don't know how to have support, it's nice because it's virtual. So it's not that threatening. And you get to also speak up. So part of this is learning how to just use your voice, sharing, and then connecting also to your sexual energy. We do a little bit of that. So that's a beautiful program that I love teaching. And then I also have the yoni healing and sexual empowerment, where it's a deep dive into our sexual body anatomy, learning how to process any old traumas sexually. You know, 1 out of every 3 women in the United States have had some type of trauma. And so also I work with women who've had abortion, women who have STDs, like herpes 2, for example, is very rampant and nobody talks about it. So there's a lot of shame and misunderstanding. And so I feel I'm a guide for people to empower their sexuality if they really want to understand how to harness their creative sexual energy, feminine energy, but then also healing our inner child, releasing the baggage from childhood that a lot of times is getting in the way of our relationships, really being available. So for people that really can't stand their parents and you want to heal at a vibrational level, because my clients, they go to counselors and therapists, and then they come to me because they feel that they're not really forgiving in their body. And so they might have anxiety or panic attacks or irritable bowel syndrome. And so I'm not directly working with that diagnosis, but I'm helping them to process the tension in the physical body that's related to the emotions. Because sometimes people take medication for pain, let's just say, but it doesn't help them. And so what I realize is chronic emotional pain is something really great that I love working with people with fibromyalgia, just anything where you just can't sit still and be peaceful. There's something going on that wants to come out of you, and I'll definitely guide you how to do that, because that's what the Alva method does. And there's one more thing that I wanted to mention, that if anybody wants to experience what I do, you can go to Michelle Alva TV, and we could post that link down there. There's a playlist I made of all these meditations for free. I listen to these. One of them is Fear of Intimacy. I made them all for myself, really. And, and my clients, of course, they mirror me, right? So there's one for healing our childhood. There's one for mother healing, if people just can't get along with their mom. There's another one about inner child healing, and just going from chaos to calm. There's an abundance meditation. So there's many different topics and themes. One about forgiveness. And I actually made that one with my ex-boyfriend. We recorded it together and we prayed because we were arguing at the time, and then we forgave each other. And then we're like, let's make a forgiveness meditation together. And so he's singing and doing sound healing in the background. And that's the thing where these meditations come to me from spirit, from inner guidance. And so many times I've had people tell me, Michelle, this is a part of the money thing, where in the past, I didn't really value what I did because it was so different. And so I was a physical therapist, and I thought I could only get paid for touching people, actually having my hands on them. And then, this whole thing shifted into COVID, pandemic. Nobody can leave their home. And so I've transformed my business into an online business where I have group programs online, one-on-one, virtual, on the phone. And so I easily transitioned because I started meditating for an hour in the morning, and I created an abundance meditation. And so I created my own solutions, and then it turned into a program. So you see how out of scarcity can come abundance. Mm-hmm. It all has to do with your mindset. And so I'm living proof that you can have an awesome, thriving, entrepreneurial, free, freedom and free meditations, and still people want to hire me. That was a part of it too, is like, I wanted to just teach classes donation based because of the pandemic. People are not working. And then I was hired by this physician, and he goes to me, Michelle, only 80% of people are not working. 20% of us are still working, and we're still getting paid really well. And he told me, he goes, so don't lower your prices. Don't cheapen yourself. Isn't that amazing? And so then I started charging again and feeling good about it. But then I was like, well, why don't I just put some awesome content on my YouTube channel and have a whole playlist of meditations, and that'll make me feel great, because then I'm giving back to the community. And so there's some really awesome content there, meditations that can be life-changing, and also teach you how this work works for you. And then people reach out to me. They're like, oh my God, I just listened to your inner child meditation. This is exactly what I want to go deeper into. And I want to go into my body. I want to release these aches that I've been having. I know I'm carrying my mom around in my body. I want her out of me. No. I mean, people have really said things like that, but that's the first step, is actually loving whatever you're feeling. And so a meditation is not enough to just really go on that long journey, right? But that's where at least you can start the journey and see that there's something else possible for you. So I'm really happy that that's there.
Amazing. Yeah. Another thing I love about you is you're just a really abundant content creator. You're just like churning it out like this all
Very
the time.
creative.
And
well, I've worked for 23 years. You know, I've been out for a long time. I'm 47 and I've learned a lot of different things. But most of all, I surrender, and I'm very intuitive, very psychic, and very connected to my body. And so your body is your soul house, right? It's where you house your soul. So I get woken up with ideas, and then it just, you know, okay, let's do this.
Another connection I just made while you were speaking in, you know, this idea of healing the inner child. And I was like, oh yeah, like that's how we access fun. It's by listening to our inner child, because like children just have fun all the time. That's all they care about. And so, yeah, when your little child is sad, you got to cheer her up. Then the fun really starts. You know, that's when you like access those intuitive ideas and just like the confidence and the freedom to be able to act them out. And I'm like very like early on in my learning stage about Tantra, but I'm presuming that this is kind of, you know, it's like the prerequisite level for being able to access more physical pleasure in the body, is just by being in there and kind of like cleaning up whatever it is that needs your attention to really process it, so that you can create space for more pleasure and more expansion.
A lot of us are walking around like this. We're literally weighed down in our head with all these thoughts. I'm not good enough. You know, I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve it. I'll never be successful. And we're walking around like this, where we can't really see. We're not clear. And so Tantra, the Alva method for sure, it does this, and it lets all that light be seen that you've always been. You're actually always, 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 since you're born, you are magical, miraculous, divine power. You are love when you're born. And so what happens is, like my mom, she yelled at me a lot. My mom was very abusive. My mom was very, very, very sad inside. It looked like anger. So I literally thought, what's wrong with me? And I internalized it. And I'm a Cancer girl, you know, super sensitive, but it's great because I'm very intuitive. And so I internalized, like, my mommy doesn't love me. My mommy yells at me. And I would just yell back at her, and we would just yell at each other. So I thought love was abuse. I thought that people that love you, they bully you. And my older brother too, he bullied me, and he was very jealous that I came in. And so I took it personally. And that's a part of my story, is realizing they were two people that was where they were at. But it's not a personal thing. It's not about me. And so this is a massive part of the healing work, is letting go of taking things personally. But you can't just tell somebody, don't take it personally. They're like, what do you mean? And their heart is like this. You know, they have gastroenteritis. They have all these things inside. I'm not saying that's why we get it, but let me tell you, folks, there's definitely a pattern after all these years of internalizing things. And then we have gallbladder stones. Yes, of course, it has to do with diet and all that stuff. But how is it that certain people, they don't get anything? And they don't let anything hold on to them. They just brush everything off. And so for the people that are empathics, that are listening, you're holding on to a lot of stuff. Okay, it's your stuff that you decided as a child to internalize. And so part of this work is taking responsibility. Stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming the government. Stop blaming. So part of people, they're like, I don't want to hear that. Like, I want to blame everyone. I want to be the victim, you know, because it works for us. But then your body's like, it doesn't work for us. And so a massive leap would be, okay, I am going to shift my narrative about my family, and I'm going to decide what I want to be. And so it's a lot about owning your sovereignty and becoming your own commanding force in your own life. That's what this is about. And for some of us, we're like, what? You want me to take responsibility for my life? You know, I was raised as a girl, and I'm not supposed to be empowered. I have to find the prince. And so I think a lot of us have watched way too many Disney movies as children, and that was part of me, that I was programmed to find my prince and not really programmed to be self-sufficient and governing, very codependent. So that's another aspect of this work, that we become interdependent, but we love the codependent drama queen victim. We have to love her and ask her, what were the blessings that you brought me, that you taught me? So we don't just, because sometimes people are like, Michelle, I want to release this, get it out of me, But the thing is, wait a minute, let's turn that into fertilizer so that we can grow and we can strengthen and heal and imagine something new and thrive from all that shit. That's the acronym: strengthen, heal, imagine something new and thrive, and turn it into fertilizer. And so I've done a lot of fertilization and I'm very fertile too. And that's what nature does. And so what if you could see your past as, wow, I learned healthy boundaries from my parents. I learned the power of words, and I will never talk to my daughter like that. Or I learned how damaging it could be to take it out on my child, Mind you, definitely I still repeated some of those patterns, but I have to say, by now, I do feel I have a really great relationship with myself and with my daughter. And that even though it's been definitely a long journey, it was so worth it, because I can serve people in a way where I've been through it. So I feel like my clients, they feel really safe with me. They trust me. And just what I've manifested in my life, I'm living proof that we can shift, we can transform. We're not victims, but we are victims if we stay in victim mentality. So part of it is saying, I'm grateful for all that, and now I'm going to decide something different. And it's that simple. So it's not for everyone, because it might require your whole life changing like mine did. And let me tell you though, at the other side of it, it's whatever you decide to create. And sometimes that's scary, but we really are creating so much more than what we think we're capable of creating. So
it's scary, but it's also really fun.
Yeah. I say it's exciting nervous. Like instead of scary nervous, it's like exciting nervous.
Like driving a speedboat.
Yeah, and dating someone new is exciting nervousness, It's not, you're not really scared of that hot guy, right?
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing all of your incredible wisdom with us today. Where can people find you if they want to learn more about your work?
Well, Michelle Alva TV, I would make that your first stop. Listen to a meditation, because then you don't have to read about me. You can feel about me and the benefits in you. And that's really my mission, is to create shift internally. And that's how I feel we're going to really create massive shifts externally in the world, because everything happening around us is happening for us, and it's happening created a lot because of what's going in us. And if you want to go to my website, it's michellealva.com. But I highly recommend go to YouTube, subscribe to my channel. There's some awesome sexual empowerment videos, healing videos, and the meditations. And thank you so much for having me today, Sarah. And I just can't wait to continue on this journey with you and creating with you, because you rock. You are awesome.
Thanks, Michelle. You are so welcome. Thank you. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.
Bye.
For more inspirational content, head over to my website withsarahmac.com, and please support the show by liking, commenting, and subscribing.